Alright, so I just finished up with this copper sulfate, and I'm going to show you what I did with it. Three different things. I don't know what I'm going to do with this big guy over here. I'll explain that in a minute. Let me just show you how I did it. So a little bit messy at the end here. So it took about 3 weeks, and I'm going to show you, you'll see some leftovers in there that broke off. So what you saw, the big brown guy just popped out of here. I let it evaporate through there. And in 2 weeks, the first 1 to 2 weeks wasn't doing much of anything. And then from the second to third week, that's when everything started to go and crystallize. And there's another piece that broke off. And then it started to creep out of the bowl like this. During the day or whatever, you never see it happening. It just sort of appears there. So I gotta clean this up. I'll probably dilute it with some hot water, really dilute it. And they say it can do damage to your like steel pipes or anything like that. So PVC, I guess it wouldn't damage anything in the toilet after a heavy dilution. So this is a glass bowl that I did it in, and you just do like the same. Like here's borax. You dissolve it and super saturate the solution. So that's what I did here. And I'm going to try this next, the seashell, after I show you that piece over there. So let me show you that big piece that's in the middle of that round guy. This is a regular chunk. I didn't make this. This is how it came. I'm going to show you. So this is a little bit smaller than that chunk that you saw there. I'm going to get the bag out what I used. I didn't use a powder. I used something different. And at first I didn't think it was going to work. And it turned out to be pretty cool. So this is a 10-pound bag. I got a 10-pound bag because I figured it would be the best thing to do in case I really wanted to make this. And it really is cool. I'll show you up close in a minute, but I'm just trying to show you what I use. So that giant chunk you saw is about only half the size and thickness of this guy here. That was about a little bit smaller than the one I showed you in that little plastic bag. So it grew pretty nice. And then here, these guys broke off the corner. These chips in here, they're about this size, between just bigger than this and just smaller than this, with a few pieces that are pretty giant. And the reason I got that was because I wanted to start off with something big. Like when I show you this over here, I'll explain real quickly, but people hang them with they grow a seed crystal, right? They get powder form of this, and they dilute it, they super saturate it, and they break stuff up, and they break little pieces off, probably this size or smaller. They tie it with a fishing string, and then they hang it so they can get something that big. I'll take a measurement to show you how big that is in a second. I didn't do that with this. I just put this string in. I just did 3 different experiments, and I'll show you better views of this in a moment. I just put a string there, and it formed, so no seed crystals or anything. The whole thing was underwater. First I hung it, then I laid it, I unwound it, and I laid this whole strip down in the bowl on top of this. It didn't stick or grow to that. I'm very surprised. And so it just grew this all on its own. The first part it grew was a little tiny guy at the side, at the bottom of this, and it kept the space in there between there the whole time. And then it started growing these cool fins, like triangle fins all the way around. But that's like sort of like a block. I don't know. I don't know what shape to call it. It's wanted to be a rectangle square with a little bit of a fin to it, but it's really bizarre. So no seed crystal. So I bought this purposely so I could do giant things right away and grow them even bigger, instead of going through the process of getting a little one, tying it on a string, and then making it into a giant crystal that size and being happy with it. I didn't want to do that. It seemed like a little bit of a waste. Now, what I'll tell you is that when I first tried this, I had 2 of these guys. This was the one that worked out. So pretend you don't see that. I had 2 of them, and I put them side by side because I figured this would start growing a nice matrix. And I put them side by side like standing stones. But I guess the solution wasn't saturated enough, so they melted. Then I put a whole bunch more in there, and and I didn't even heat the water back up. I just threw a handful of these guys in there, and in like 2 days they were all dissolved. Then the water must have became super saturated, which I thought it was at first. Then after I saw it crystallizing on the string and on the bottom, I put this guy in, and that's how I grew that. So let me get this. You can do it either way. They have powder, they have tiny crystals, medium crystals, and these large crystals. I think this cost me $40 for this 10-pound bag. All right, so let me put this aside and show you how cool this stuff looks up close. All right, let me go over this guy first. So this was a piece of, I don't know what you would call it, like sand, that crystallized sand, and a little bit of melted looking calcite was in it. I melted it down. I'll show you a piece so you get a better understanding of it. I had melted it down because I had a whole bunch of them. I cleaned some of them off. Some I had to acid bathe. And this one had, I can't find it now because it covered up in here, but there was about a 1/4 inch double terminated piece of quartz point in there. And I thought, wow, that's so cool. Underneath all this sand and crud, there was that. So I can't really remember where it was on here. But now it's covered up by this. So as you can see, the crystals grew on this really good. They don't seem to be delicate, like they're not going to flake off or anything. I'm trying to just turn it here so you can see that there's like thin, I don't know, looks like thin shards of glass, diamond type shapes. You see that? Like, look in this cave hole right here. See that, like diamond type shape? And anyway, well, you can look wherever you want, but I'll just try to point out. So this came out really awesome. I mean, really, really awesome. It looks so real. Like, it looks like you would find this out in the field somewhere, you know what I mean? And then this big chunk over here grew. Oh, I lost the focus on that. And again, this has been sitting out for 24 hours. I kept it in the dark in my closet, in my counter, so it looks like to hold up. Now you can see this part here. I don't know what reason is, but it didn't turn dark blue. But the rest of this came out really, really nice. And there you go, that came into focus now. So yeah, you could do that on a piece of material like this, and I'll show you a piece of material like that. Let's go to this one over here first. Now, I think I'm going to spray these. Like, I think I'm going to put a polyurethane or some kind of spray on this. I don't know how sturdy they are, because when I show you that base over there, it looks so nice and thick and everything, but it cracks. So I'm touching them gently just in case. But as you can see, they look really, really cool. Look at, like, right in here. Ready? Watch. No, it didn't do it. Okay, wait. See that? Before it was doing it, lost the focus. You can see the diamond shapes, like I guess they're called. They're really, really cool. And I don't know why they get smaller and smaller and smaller. It was underwater the whole time together, so I don't know why it forms that kind of shape there compared to these really cool shark fins, I guess you can call them. But I think I'm going to definitely cut this rope here and probably there, or leave a little bit of string and clean it off a little bit with some pliers. And I'll spray this and hang it like an ornament, you know, like a crystallized ornament. Again, my camera might not pick up how beautiful it is. And some of this, like right where this finger is, this middle finger, that piece in there, if I can get it to focus, it almost looks purple. It's hard to see. It's beautiful. When you put a light under the light or a light behind it, it looks amazing. So that's one form here. And I think I'm going to spray that one, and I'm going to spray that one. I don't know if I'm going to try this again. I'm thinking about filling up the bowl again after I clean it, letting it start to crystallize, maybe making a little stand, and then plopping this back down and seeing what happens. So just before I started the camera, this piece broke. That's just to show you how delicate that is. Now, that piece alone, before I grew it, was not delicate. Like, I would have to try to smash it to break it open. But once it formed here, it cracked. It's got a really strange feeling to it too. It doesn't feel like glass. It doesn't feel like crystal. It almost feels like plastic. So let me get this over here so you can get a good view of it. And this top part here was sticking out of the water. So you can see it has that yucky, like, dull blue. I started peeling some of that off. I think because the air hit it and there was no more solution on it, it did that. But it's absolutely beautiful. Let's see if I can just show you that piece for now. Again, it's like rectangle with some ridges on it. And the original piece didn't have a lot of this on there, so like I don't know if I can do this without breaking this. Let's see here. There's a spot in here, which was really cool. Alright, so this piece didn't look like this. It didn't have all these ridges. It was flat. And it made all those ridges and stuff. Over here, it's hard to tell unless my camera focuses. It did something a little different. It almost looks like little rectangle points of quartz. And there's a space underneath there. It's pretty neat. It did it over there too. Now my camera zooms in afterwards, right? So let me just show you the base of it as I twirl it around. The base is flat and they look like this, turned up on their edges. This piece over here is really cool. And like I said, it seems to be solid but delicate at the same time. So I don't know how it will last. Like I don't know if I want to try to redo it again. Like this edge here will break off, I can tell. I'm just trying to get you a good color view because the color is between blue and purple. I might put it up in my cabinet. You might be able to see it better there. Man, that lighting disturbed it. Let's see if I can do this. Kind of what I'm looking at on my, there it goes. Now you can see how much better the color is a little bit. It's still not as nice as my eyes. The color is beautiful. And some of the pieces are more see-through, which is really cool. Like in this section here is awesome because they go in different directions. It's just hard to pick it up. Let me see here. And the bottom is less like the bottom is less put together. It looks like, you know, melted mold. Let's see here. This is another cool section. I'll put my finger on it so you can see the height. Sometimes it's hard to be able to see the height of this. Then I'll see if I can show you some cool lighting effect. Boy, I'm looking at the camera compared to my eyes and see that purpley glow kind of ruins it. Hold on one second here. Okay, that's more realistic there. Just kind of hard to see the height. Let me put it up my countertop cabinet and show you a lighting effect that looks cool. At least at nighttime it did. Alright, let's see here. This is without the light. That's just sunlight coming in. Might be able to see a little bit better here. Maybe not. You can see the height though now. You can see the height difference big time now. So that's why I like this. It looks like a matrix. Now if you could imagine there would have been two of those and then the third one would have been that one if it didn't melt and they would have been in the center of this. That would have looked so cool. Like kind of like an ancient site, you know what I mean? All right, let's see if I can do this with the camera here, with the light. See that? It's kind of a little hard because there. Let's see. You could sort of see it, but you can imagine if it was nighttime how dark it would be, and this thing wouldn't be reflecting like that. It's really cool. Anyway, so I think that's all. If I do keep this, I'll spray it and protect it. If I don't, then I'm going to try to regrow it, and see how much more on a stand. And when I say a stand, I don't know if I'll use copper. I don't think you can use copper, but I might make these plastic ties and sit them on there like that. It just came out of the glass so easy, like it just slid out. Didn't even have to try to work it out or anything. It was really neat. So there, I think that gives you a good idea of the color and the size coming up out of there. Now what's interesting is that grew, at least, man, I wish you could see how awesome it is. You're not really seeing how slick and how smooth and how glass-like it looks. It's really awesome. But I think you get the picture. Let's see if I can do up close here. Nah. Let me try this one more time. You kind of can see how slick it is with the light, but anyway, you know, this grew really big. Like, this literally was probably about 3/4 of an inch lower, and probably, there you go, probably it was only this size, like this to this to this. So it grew really big. I'm not sure why the guys on the bottom didn't grow. I guess because there was nothing there and they had to form and then start growing, but they still did grow pretty good. You kind of see a little bit. Anyway, give me some advice or comment on it, whatever you want to do. And then if I make another one, or if I decide to grow this larger, I'll make a video of it to see how it came out. I may even just put it in there and then put that piece I showed you in the very beginning in the little plastic bag and stand it upright, or wedge it in between here somewhere, and to see if that will grow. Pretty dang cool though. Let's see if the camera shows pretty good up here or not. Not bad. Alright, so that's it, I guess, on this. The other two will be protected, and I don't know about this one yet. Alright, copper sulfate. Lots of love to you all.